All right, with Yaseen Abdalla, 23, University of Arkansas, made your marathon debut at the Paris Olympics, of all places, and you finished 37th there, I think, 2:11:41.
33rd.
33rd, 33rd.
Yeah, that's well.
I mean, just an incredible debut. Having never run the marathon before, you run for Sudan and your opening debut for the country. What are your reflections on that performance?
I think it came at the perfect time in my career where I've been making a lot of mistakes for a lot of years, and I finally I usually do too much with my preparation. Like I have to add on this, have to be this much mileage. I just backed it off, and everything was super simplistic. And like the key of my prep was I had 6 weeks before I had to taper. So I was like, okay, I'll do a hard long run every other week. Everything else will fall in between that. Very simple. Like every run other than my long runs was less than an hour or less. Uh, and so yeah, I think I got really lucky where I was ready to capitalize on the opportunity. Man, well,
At what point did you know that you were going to represent Sudan in the marathon? I mean, obviously this came probably during your NCAA season, right? That you found out. How did the process work?
yeah, I ran for Sudan at Worlds in 2022. So I had my mom talks to the Sudan team. So we had the connection, and they reached out like, "Do you want to run the Olympics for us?" I was like, "Of course." At the time, like last year, I was thinking it would probably be in the 5K, but then they changed the rules for universality spots, and I didn't have any. Like, I'm glad. Like, I was fine to do the marathon. I thought I'd be good at it. I've always been told. My high school coach, Coach Burrows, always says I'd be good at it. So I was like super excited, and I like wasn't as daunted as some people would be, because it's at the time was like 4 times. I've done a 10K. I haven't raced a 10K in 2 years, all out, but that was the longest I've done. It's 4 times. And there's more than 4 times longer than that. So it was a good challenge. They were super supportive. Sudan was, and yeah, I learned probably last year, but it's you never know for sure with these things until I think World Athletics released their list and while we were SECs, and so I'd been saying like, yeah, I'm probably doing it, but I didn't like tell anyone. So when they released it, and I think Leonard Career was like got bumped out because of it, and then my coaches saw that, and all my friends saw that, and they're like, you're actually doing it, and so that's probably when it was confirmed for sure. When I was like, okay, now I can tell people.
Is that part of your personality trait, not daunted by something this new? A normal person, right, who had to run a marathon before, even as talented and as accomplished as you, would be a little fearful, obviously, going into an Olympic marathon. What made you not feel that?
I don't know. I mean, my build specifically for the marathon was short, but like I can't like I started it right after making nationals outdoor. So it's not like I was starting from zero, and I know what my strengths are. Like my strength has always been the aerobic side,
Mm.
and I have to try and bring it down. So trying to focus on knowing that's like that even plays into my strength, and I think I have a very good understanding now more of training and energy systems, and the way we trained at Tennessee was very much suited to the more marathon. We do like 20 by K, stuff like that, super hard long runs, 18.9 long runs, and so I just knew like that's where my strengths lied. I was already sort of training for that. And the marathon's just a race. I think Alberto Salazar said that like, back when before his debut in like the 80s or 90s. It's completely true. Like it's not like I'm gonna run 5K pace for 2 hours. I'm going slow enough to run. It's just a race.
Yeah.
So it ended up being nicer even than any other race because, like in a 5K, the first 1K or mile is a jog, maybe. For the marathon, the first like 10 miles is like a jog. And I was just jogging around the beautiful streets of Paris. It's like it's like the best runners like of all time, all around me. Kipchoge here, Bekele here, Cam Levin's here, Bashir Abdi here. I was like super cool. So I knew it would just be a race, and once the gun went off, I was a little bit more nervous maybe the morning of. I messed up my hip flexor the day before, a little bit. So I was like nervous that would like flare up, but it didn't end up doing anything. But when the gun went off, it's one thing to tell yourself, hey, the first third of this race should feel easy. And then it's another thing to, my best workout before that was 20 miles in 5:07. primary point, like 5 flat, 451, 453, 456, like those kind of splits for the first 10 miles.
Yeah.
And it felt like, if you told me a 720, I wouldn't have believed it, but
Yeah.
it felt like 720.
So you felt that was your workout that made you believe, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. Given the difficulty of the Paris course, a lot of conversation was that it was obviously very hilly, it's very difficult. How would you evaluate 211?
Before the race, people were saying 3 to 5 minute conversion. Now I think people are saying more, if anything. But I'll probably run another marathon soon.
Oh, okay.
We'll see how NCAA plays out. But
Yeah.
if NCAA goes my way, probably not until maybe October next year at the earliest. If it doesn't, probably like April, and then we'll see. And maybe I'll do the same thing for Tokyo marathon.
I guess that was my question. Given your debut, given that you're still in the NCAA, you have 2 seasons left in cross and indoor. I mean, where did you kind of see this going at this particular discipline?
The marathon?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a daydreamer. Like, I had daydreams of getting top 10. I had daydreams of getting 20th. My goal was, I think, top 20. And I stopped to use the bathroom, and if you take that time out, I was like 28th, 27th. So I wouldn't say, like, people were like calling that a ridiculous goal, like 27 without the first one. I don't think that's that bad.
Well, let me read you some Let's Run comments. There was a thread made about you, and you obviously were going to represent Sudan and in your debut. And a couple thoughts here were, one comment said, VDOT chart gives him a 212 off his 10K. I think that's obviously a bit ambitious. I'm going to say 218. Someone else said Paris 213. Someone else said either a 215 or a DNF. Another person said 215. So you basically pretty much blew out anyone's predictions of you overall. I mean, not that you're running for anybody, you're motivated by that stuff, but I mean, did you get any impression upon going in the marathon that people didn't quite believe what you were capable of?
Yeah, I think it's people just want to call the marathon art just because of how long it is. Like, there's a little bit of a skew because if guys can't do the 10K, 5K at college, they don't always go to the marathon. They just stop running it. They'll keep doing road races until their career's over. So people have this illusion that the marathon's, like whatever converts to something slower than it does. I think the conversions, I think there was another thread after I ran that was like, I'm not sure what it was, but I remember, I think I predicted myself 207 to 211 on a fast course.
Yeah.
So even I think I was telling people 213 on that course. But, so I don't think I took too much, like, that was too bothersome. It's like people, it's not like, I don't take that as like they are hateful. I take it as like, they literally just don't know.
Yeah.
They have no clue.
Yeah.
Like if you put, I was talking to you about one of my teammates, Timothy Chisondon, I think got 35th at ICs last year. If you throw him in a marathon, he's going at least 212. You know what I mean? On a fast course.
Yeah.
But it's just like, people just have no clue how much easier the marathon is. The top 10 in cross nats on a fast course is going 207. Can't lie, 208, 207. If they train for it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think everyone's now looking forward to you going after it again. I wanted to talk a little bit about your Sudanese heritage. Your parents are from Sudan, correct?
Yeah.
And you said you raced at Worlds in 2022. You're quoted as saying sort of you had, I guess, running for the U.S. is different than maybe running for your parents' home country. Sudanese probably see you running for their country with a little bit more importance. Like, what is it? How important was it for you to sort of represent your country and to sort of put your name out there from where your parents are from?
I think I think I did one interview where I said it's very much like the U.S. They'll allow you to represent them, whereas Sudan, it's like they want you to represent them.
Correct. Yeah.
Which is very, it makes sense. But like, I'm getting so many DMs, so much love just for like wearing the uniform. I did, pretty well, but just for representing the country, training, being on the big stage, like I'm getting appreciation and love. Whereas in the U.S., you can go out there in a jersey and like Conor Mann's got 8th, incredible.
Yeah.
Doesn't medal, people are gonna, he didn't medal.
Yeah.
How terrible. The U.S. chokes again. You know what I mean? It's like completely different perspectives. And I definitely wanted to do it once. I mean, my mom was sort of at it, like sort of pushing for it earlier on in like 2022 when I first decided, and it made sense here again, especially because I didn't have time to run a marathon. But yeah, it's just so much more support at every level, from the institutional level to the people everyday DM. Like I think Ollie Hoare did a podcast and he was talking about he didn't make it past the repechage round, and he was just getting terrible comments from Australian fans. You know what I mean? That didn't happen for Sudan, maybe because they're not used to being like other countries a little bit are entitled as far as the population.
Yeah.
To you work your whole life, and if you don't medal, you're worthless. Whereas Sudan is like, oh my gosh, he's incredible.
You're finding the different side of the support, which is help empowering you toward your goals, whereas in other countries, not necessarily the case. And I did say that it's tough to see Olympic athletes getting hate online for something they worked at their life for, right? You achieve this greatness and you're at the stage. I don't know how it comes to that, but yeah. How did your NCAA career, obviously still ongoing, help prepare you, for your moments at the international level?
And I think, like I said at the start, I was just like, I got the perfect amount of failure. Like, I'm a very stubborn guy, and I had a lot of bad habits, bad ideas about running, about this, about that. That I think just at the perfect time, like I think I've gotten 12th. I got 11th this last outdoor nationals, but 12th, 11th for 2 years, 2 years straight. Each is a gut punch.
Yeah.
I think I was ranked 6th, and then I was hoping for podium, and then I was hoping for podium, and then podium again, and 12th, 11th. Each one of those is like a huge, huge gut punch. And you learn, I'm like, I did this wrong. And it's very different things every time. And I say a lot, I'm very glad I've been allowed to make mistakes, because one thing I've realized about myself and people in general is, let's say I want to do this speed workout, and you're my coach, and you're like, that's stupid. And you or whatever, you convince me not to do it.
Yeah.
Maybe I won't do it, but if things don't go my way, I'm always going to think it's because I didn't do the speed workout. So I'm very glad I've got to make these mistakes, so I know, okay, that was stupid. Whereas, like, I overtrained doing double threshold a bunch this indoor season. And before that, at Texas, I was like, I need to do more. In my first year at Tennessee, I was like, I need to do more. And then Carlson was like, okay, you can do it. Because I had a really bad cross-country race. I was super upset with the way that our system was going. I was like, just let me do this. I wanted to do it for so long. I did it, it was wrong. I just got so buried. I haven't been that buried since junior year of high school.
Oh, you're an overthinker?
I think I've finally gotten, I think I am an overthinker, but I finally learned to rein it in.
Yeah.
Whereas you want to succeed, or it's like there's wanting to succeed where you're going to do stupid things to succeed, and there's wanting to succeed where you make sure you stay smart. You know what I mean? It's like the guy who is doing 200 miles a week wants to succeed, but is he going to? No. It's the guy who learns, okay, my body can only take this. No.
Yeah.
So I think I've for a long time been the 200-mile type of guy. Oh, I'm trying so hard. But you really are not trying that hard, because you're sabotaging yourself. And every step you're sabotaging yourself, deep down you know. Like, let's say coach says we're going 206 for 800s. After 6 years of going 203s and it backfiring, you know you shouldn't go 203s and you still do it. But I think I finally learned. That's what, and it's very good I learned from a marathon, because that would have been so brutal. I had a bad 3K at Bengal Nationals, married. 7 minutes. 2 hours, it would have been like 2 hours 30. That would have been good.
You're only 23, obviously. You got a lot of run left in you. What are your aspirations now? You just mentioned that you kind of maybe want to get back in the marathon within the next year. Or do you see yourself on the track now? I mean, where do you kind of position yourself in terms of what's possible? We just saw Stefan of Netherlands do the crazy triple 5K, 10K marathon. What are your aspirations as you look ahead?
I'm very much, whatever opportunity is presented, I'll take. So I think a lot of my marathon success was attributed to me not being an idiot with my training for the first time in 7 years or whatever. and I think it looks a lot more like I'm just a marathoner. So this last track season is to give myself a shot to see, okay, I think it was just the training piece I finally put together.
Yeah.
And so if I put down some crazy times and finally perform at the championship, then it's like, okay, I was right. Like the training, I just finally figured it out, and I'm that kind of athlete, not just a marathoner. But if it goes, similar way as it has been, or like a little bit better, but not substantially, I'm fine just doing the marathon. Wherever I'm thrown off,
Yeah.
I'm grateful.
So that one remaining piece off your bucket list in the NCAA, at that championship level, you want to be able to kind of reach a little bit and get to that point where you see yourself, right? Okay. And you'll get that at Arkansas.
Yeah.
You get that opportunity. All right. Last question, I guess. How has your entire running experience shaped you to get to this point?
I think my running experience was the perfect mix of a lot of failure and a lot of luck. Like, I had one of the best coaches in the country coaching me in high school. With one of the Creighton was ranked number 1 in the 1500, and then I got recruited to Texas just because they wanted him. I got to run the DMR just because one of our other legs was hurt. I got to transfer to Tennessee just because of my DMR leg. I got to run with Dylan because I come from Tennessee. A lot of luck, a lot of learning, but a lot of hardship. Like, I was very terrible in high school. I got hurt for 12 months my senior year. I was 6th at NXR, didn't get to go to NXN. I was 18th at ranked NC indoor, didn't get to go to nationals. It's like a mix of both, where I'm pushing so hard and failing, but it's never so much failure that I'm like broken or like I have to stop. Like, obviously, if I never ever got to taste success, I probably wouldn't still be here even.
Yeah.
No matter how tough you are, you need some light, and I think going on 5 years, 6 years without any wins or anything, I got really lucky and we won the DMR. And that was like perfect. In retrospect, it's so much easier to see than in the moment, because I was like, I'm always losing, but I was like, I'm losing 80% of the time, which is teaching me so much more than people who win 80% of the time. But I'm getting that 20% of, holy crap, I beat Yard. And Yard just medal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And holy crap, my PR went from 8:13 to 7:46 converted in one race for the 3K. These wins that came just at the right time to keep me pushing. I think that was really important. And then actually, I forgot to talk about the course earlier, but I thought the course would be a lot worse than it was. In my head, it was. I looked at the elevation profile. I never saw the course until I ran it. So I looked at the elevation profile, and it was flat, and then a gradual hill, downhill, and then the huge hill. But it ended up being flat-ish for 10 miles, which is the super easy part. And then my whole philosophy was, I think I saw another thing from Salazar about how he did a study that running uphill for the same effort gets you so much less ground on something. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to sandbag every hill. They've never been my strength. I can hammer the downhill. So every uphill, I would pretty much stay super within myself for the gradual part. And it wasn't that bad, because everyone else did the same thing. People talk about you have to hammer the hill. Stupid advice. You can only do that it's right at the end of a race. You know what I mean? Like, if you're kicking up a hill and then you finish further, then you can do it. But within a race, hills are just one of the, they end up being irrelevant. And even the huge hill, I was with Cam Levins and some of the Italian guys, some of the Israeli guys, and I guess they'd all seen the course before, because we turn left and you see the whole thing at once. And I thought it was at 29K, so my information was all off. I thought it was at 29K. I started at 28K, so I was like, I have another K, and then no, we turned left and it was a mile uphill. And we used to do a lot of hills in high school. I don't do them anymore. And it just reminded me to we just do these daunting hills. And I literally, I don't know if I can swear, but I swore. I was like, oh my, I'm not gonna do it. But I swore, looked at them. I guess they all saw the course, and we just ran up it. I was going so slow. I mean, that's the whole thing. Like, some people hit that hill and then blew up a mile later. Some people hit that hill and then blew up 5 miles later.
Yeah.
They all blew up. I think I passed 20 people from that hill to the end, the bottom of that hill to the end. So, and all I did was jog up it. If you told me I was going 7:30, literally, I felt like I was walking up that hill, and it would not end, man. It would not end. But then there was a huge downhill, and then it was flat. And the flat part was the hardest. Flat.
Yeah.
And all in all, like, it was so beautiful, and I was really happy at the time, just because I'm not quite sure why there's so much faster this year. Maybe because the Italian guy took off at whatever it was, mile 8 or 9. But usually Olympic marathons are super slow. So if it had been slower, I think I could have gone 2:14
Yeah.
for the slower race system.
Sign of the times. The marathon is getting faster overall, so maybe it's not so surprising that it went fast in the Olympic race. But all right, Yaseen, thank you so much for speaking with me. We can see you next at Arkansas cross country and then indoor, correct?
Yeah.
And then the future basically is in front of us. Are we going to expect maybe any kind of future announcement on your YouTube page? Right.
After the
Season, yeah.
Yeah, I'll definitely keep everyone posted on YouTube.
Okay. All right. By the way, great channel, by the way. You're really growing too. So I'd love to see it. Thank you so much for spending time with me. For more FloTrack content, go to FloTrack.org. We'll see you later.